Hello and welcome to Make It Happen. I am Michelle McCullough and I am so excited to be with you. We have a great show in store for you. Today's topic is all about marketing, but we are talking specifically about how to analyze your current marketing efforts so that you can define what you need to do in the future. Today's marketing self-audit is important for you at any time of year so that you know just the few little things you can do to make your marketing an absolute 10. We also have some fun, exciting products for you in the Michelle's Favorite Things segment, specifically 2 of my must-haves in travel. And we also have a question from an audience member to pick my brain on how to tell your story. Today's episode is for you. Welcome to Make It Happen. Okay, today's Pick My Brain comes from a client and friend of mine, Tina Larson from Spanish Fork, Utah. She says, Michelle, how do I share my story in an authentic way? Now, this is a pretty generic question, and knowing her and her situation, I know that she has a big story to tell. And yet I also know you have to be ready to tell your story when it feels right for you. But doing so authentically is actually the genius and gold star word in that question. How do you authentically tell your story? I'm a storyteller. In fact, most of my speeches include a story or two from my own life and experiences that have been really poignant in teaching me lessons, but have also helped shape and build my character. Now, some stories are deeper than others. Some stories will make you laugh, and some stories will help you feel deeply, hopefully. And they're not necessarily intended to make you cry, though sometimes I have watched people cry as they tell their stories. And yet at the same time, the goal of telling a story is to help people go on a journey. So regardless of how and when you choose to tell your story, ask yourself the question, how does my story help others go on their own journey? Or how does my story help teach people something that they can remember in the future? Your stories will both entertain and educate as people remember the things that you have to say, not just because of the words that you say, but because of the principle or the story that helps them say it. So when you're thinking about telling your story, maybe you have a big story, maybe you have a deep story, maybe you have a funny story, and you want to tell it in an authentic way, I encourage you to practice telling your story over and over repeatedly. Tell it to friends, tell it to people that you trust, tell it maybe just on a short, quick Instagram live that turns into an IGTV. Tell it on a Facebook live. Don't worry about making the production important as much as you worry about telling the story and practicing it in a way that not only feels authentic to you, but also takes the listener on a journey of what the story does. Classic examples of stories, you can see how there is background information. There might be a climax to the story that helps people go, oh no, what is going to happen? And then there's a resolution. Yet there are lots of different frameworks and ways to tell stories that you can engage with your audience that don't have to be told in traditional ways. In fact, I had an opportunity back in September to tell a story in front of Mike Ganino, who is a storytelling strategist. And through the course of me telling my story, he said, what if you started in the middle rather than at the beginning? And I'm a classic setup story and then end on the punchline. And he was like, what if you started with the punchline and then figured out how to tell a story later? I'm still working and developing that part of the craft. So don't worry so much right now about how to be so exciting or engaging or doing it in a different way. Tell your story with the beginning, middle, and end, and then go back and see if there are ways that you can adjust it or improve it to move forward. Regardless, however and whenever you decide to tell your strongest, deepest, or even lightest stories, make sure you feel comfortable with where you are in the process. Now, I know that many of you have done the work necessary to tell your most authentic stories, but if you're still trying to work through the circumstances of whatever story you're trying to tell and you're still trying to make sense of it, it's probably too soon to share that story publicly. But you'll be the one who knows and decides, or talk to a trusted friend and see if they can give you some guidance and insight about whether or not they feel like you're ready to tell the story publicly. However and whenever you choose to tell your story, I also will encourage you to live powerfully in being willing to help what you have been through and gone through to change the life of others. As you become ready, you have the opportunity to help others feel like they are not alone and also feel like there is hope. And I think the world needs a whole lot of it. Now, if you have a question that you'd like to send to Pick My Brain, you can send it to Michelle@speakmichelle.com. The details are also listed in the show notes. Make sure you put Pick My Brain in the subject line, and we will talk about you on a future episode of Make It Happen. I'm also excited to partner with some amazing brands that are helping to make this show possible. But today's show is being brought to you by the Marketing Blueprint Workshop. Every year, I put together an event in the fall that helps business owners create their marketing plan. We spend some time talking about marketing trends and the things that have shifted in the market, but then we also dive deep into creating your plan for the new year. Everything from deciding your messages, the mediums that you're going to use, the budget that's important, and all about social media and media to put together a cohesive approach to your marketing. You're welcome to join us at any time of year. So if you're listening to this in May, we have recordings available for you. But if you'd like to join us live, go to marketingblueprintworkshop.com. You'll see tickets available and all of the details that you need. We hope that you can join us. It's one of my favorite things that I do each year. Okay, this is becoming one of my favorite segments of the show, and I get so excited, which means I'm going to start talking fast, and I can't help that. But here are a few of my favorite things. Now, because we're talking about planning, I have to make sure that you know about giant Post-it note easel pads. Okay, this is actually the mini easel pad. It comes in almost twice this size, but I find that both make me incredibly happy. You can post things up on the wall. You can brainstorm projects with your team, stick them up in offices, and you can also use them at home with your family and kids to create fun projects. And my kids love writing on the wall, and they think it's fantastic. The Sharpie flip chart markers are also fantastic. That goes with this. This was for a project that I did before, but you can keep them on here and they're easily portable so that you can take them from the home to the office or anywhere in between. I love them. Now, they did not pay me to tell you about how much I love these. They should, because I went to the Jonas Brothers concert in September and there was actually an ad with the Jonas Brothers for Post-it notes. So I know they pay people. Someday I'll be as cool as the Jonas Brothers. Until then, free advertising, you are welcome, 3M. Okay, now this is also Favorite Things Travel Edition because I just got back from a trip and I want to share with you a few of my favorite travel things. There are so many, but I'm just sharing with you too. Okay, now this is the Gel Comfort, okay? This was a nod to my friend Clint Pulver, who travels way more than I do, but this is a gel seat, okay? Take it with you when you are on an airplane so that they're terrible, flimsy chairs do not mess up not only your bum, but your back and your neck. You didn't think I cared about anything else but your marketing. Well, you're wrong, okay? So the Gel Comfort is fantastic. You can find this on Amazon. We will link it in the show notes so that you can find it quick and easy. I love it because it folds in. I keep a carabiner on my backpack. I just hook this on the carabiner on my backpack and then I don't even have to carry it around. But if you find yourself having some struggles with what to carry around, I highly recommend foldable bags. This bag goes with me on every trip. It folds into itself and also slides really easily onto any of the suitcase handles that are like roller bags so that I don't have to carry it in additional. But then it allows me to compact and add all of my extra personal items. When they say you can only have 2, I can slide my backpack in here. I've got a water bottle in here. And then my purse also slides in here and any kind of extra souvenirs. My favorite part is that if I don't use it, I can just fold it up and it goes away. But everybody needs an extra bag. Now, maybe dudes don't have this problem, okay? But ladies, this foldable bag will change your life. Now, this particular one I found on the Instagram. And I can't go search it for you because I don't want them to show me more ads. However, I will put a link for you below on a couple of my favorites because there are a couple of brands I think will do the trick. So here are a few of my favorite things for your travels and planning needs. On today's episode, we are going to be talking about how to do your own marketing self-audit so that you can check and see where your own strengths and weaknesses are in your marketing plan. We are showing you this episode in the fall, which is a great time to look at your marketing for the year in preparation for the new year to come. This is one of my favorite times of year to analyze my marketing tactics and strategies, and I also work with my clients to make sure they're ready for 2022. Now, whether you're watching this in the fall or or you're watching this in May or wherever, any time is a great time to just take a little look at your marketing and make sure you're on the right track for your goals and objectives. So we're going to dive in today by covering first the marketing audit. Second, figuring out how and where you can make tweaks so you can increase the success of your strategy. And then finally, we'll talk about how to go deeper if you decide you want to go deeper in your marketing strategy. Now, I have been working on a product for you that is available called the Marketing and Business Self-Audit and Exploration. You can get this 13-page guide available on my website at speakmichelle.com/2021 marketing audit. Then you'll have your own guide as we walk through it. Today, I'm going to walk you through a few of the exercises that you'll find in this audit, but you'll be able to dive in to go deeper onto the things that you really are looking for. First and foremost, I want to start with your social media. Now, what I'd like you to do is to get out a piece of paper or use the self-audit guide. But if you're driving, of course, just think through what we're talking about first. And I want you to give yourself a rating on a scale from 1 to 10. 1 being needs a lot of improvement. 10 is we are totally nailing it. And as you think about your social media, where would you rate your social media right now on a scale from 1 to 10? Now, as we go into these numbers are information. There is no judgment in them, whether you feel like you are rocking it or you need a lot of improvement. It is just something for you to check in and see where you can focus to improve. So don't get all caught up in the numbers. Just use them for information and for your own analysis and benefits. You don't have to share these numbers anywhere, but you'll also see as we go through a few different places that we're going to rate today, where you need to spend the most time or what strategies you need to improve. Now, some people might say, Michelle, how do I give myself a rating on something? How do I know if I need improvement, or how do I know what's working or not working? When you're talking about your social media, consider a few of the following. How are your followers doing? And I mean 2 things there. Are your followers consistently growing? And are your followers consistently engaged? Do they like? Do they comment? Do they share? Do they reshare? Do they engage with you in your stories and your direct messages? What does that look like? In fact, at this place, you might even say, you know what, there's a different number for Facebook than there is for Twitter, than there is for Instagram, than there is for YouTube, than there is for LinkedIn. And maybe you want to rate your individual pages based off of individual social media. I encourage you to go as deep in this exercise as will help you provide the information you need to improve. So as you think about your followers, are they engaged? Are your followers increasing? You can also consider your posting. Is your posting frequency in alignment with that platform? Are you posting the type of content that is getting engagement? What are your posting statistics? And again, maybe you give yourself an individual number in this category as well. As you're also thinking about social media, I want you to think about how you're doing in individual platforms based off of what those platforms really, truly care about. For example, on Instagram right now, Reels are really big. And if you're doing some of the old school Instagram strategies and not some of the new school Instagram strategies, you might find yourself not improving merely because you're not playing the game that Instagram is playing. So consider ways that you can improve and maybe stay up to date on what each platform is focusing on. Right now, video is really big on Facebook, as it has been for a long time, but they also care about stories. Instagram, as you know, cares about Reels, but stories are big as well. Follow the 1 or 2 things that are important in each platform. LinkedIn cares a lot about video, but they also care about articles and regular posts. Are you doing the actual content that platform is supporting? The reason why that's so important is because they're more likely to show that type of content to your followers and even to potential followers if you're playing their game. So as you think about your audit in this category, perhaps also jot down 1 or 2 things that would help you fill the gap. If you find yourself at a 6 in your social media, what are 4 or 5 items, just 4 or 5, that would help get you to a 10 or even bump you up to 8? And then you can focus on those specific ideas. Now, social media is always fun to start with, but we've got to dive into a few other pieces of your marketing that will give you some insights about how you can improve. The second area I want to focus on is your website. So on a scale from 1 needs improvement to 10, we're totally rocking it. How is your website doing? And while you're thinking about this number, think about things like your website traffic. Is it increasing? Has it increased over the past 6 to 9 months? How frequently are you posting, whether that's blog posts, articles, or videos? Changing up content regularly on your website gives search engines a new reason to crawl and categorize your website on their search platforms. So creating new content and putting new content on there is very important. If you're currently not upgrading your website in some way, shape, or form at least 4 times a month, that can be a quick way that you can needs improvement as one of your action items in your website category. Now, as you think about your website, some people will ask me, in fact, I even had a friend yesterday say, well, how important is your website really? And obviously there are different businesses where websites are different strategies. I know some clients who have no website, they deal with purely referral basis and also just deal with repeat customers. Their websites are almost non-existent. They might have just a single page there. They're not caring about website strategy or blog posting or search engine optimization because they have a different way to market. Yet I know other clients of mine where website traffic is king. They are also working on ads on a regular basis. They've got Google ads and Facebook ads that are driving traffic to the website, and they really are working on search results, especially because they're local businesses. Your goals can be different, but in my business and the day and age that we live in, my website serves as a brochure. 100% of the people who talk to me on the phone say, hey, I was looking at your website and I noticed X, Y, and Z. What probably happened was that they were referred to me in some way, shape, or form. They went and did a search, they found my website, and they clicked around. I'm not spending any money right now driving traffic to my website unless there's a special event going on, but I am having people use my website for social proof. So how are they using your website? When customers are working to interact with you, consider that as you're giving yourself your rating in your self-audit. And then again, write down 3 or 4 ways that you can improve on your website so that you know where to focus to improve the gap. Now, we talked about this briefly when we were talking about social media, but sometimes the gap isn't always about getting from 6 to 10 or from 5 to 10. It's about making an incremental adjustment and seeing if you can bump up 2 steps. So don't worry about perfection as much as you're worrying about progress, because marketing is always an ever-breathing, ever-growing opportunity for you to improve, and there will always be something that you can do to improve your marketing. So don't get hung up on the numbers or where you're stuck. Just focus on where you can improve right now for progress. So we talked about social media, we talked about website. We're going to talk about email lists next. I think every business should have a growing email list and a place that you can focus on gathering customers so that you can improve. Now, you might just have a small list of customers. Maybe you're a high-end business and you don't need a list of 1 million. But even still, knowing how to engage and regularly stay top of mind with your clients are important, whether you have 7 customers or 7,000. So how are you growing your email list? How did it grow this year? What are some things that you did to grow your list? And how can you improve it in the future? If you were to talk about email list growth on a scale from 1 to 10, again, 1 being needs improvement, 10 being totally rocking it, what would you consider your current number? And what are some things you could do to improve that number in the new year or even in the next 6 months? Thinking through this specific strategy will also help you. And I've told this story before, but I feel like it's so important. I saw a woman speak at the Social Media Examiner's big conference, Social Media Marketing World. And she was big on TikTok, and she offered an email list opt-in while she spoke, which was pretty common for most of the speakers. But she offered a TikTok strategy guide, and you could download it. And I'm not big in TikTok. I do love Instagram Reels, but I was interested in that for a client. So I opted in. And then there was some upheaval about TikTok being canceled. And instantly she was able to send an email to her over 100,000 subscribers and say, hey, check out the book club I'm doing on Instagram. Because she had a gold email list, she was able to move people from one platform to another when things were unstable. Likewise, social media won't solve all of your problems, and sometimes websites crash, yet your email list will often be reliable and something you can use in the interim if one of these other structures are in some way unstable or you need to shift. Your email list tends to be your golden goose in your business. And when I'm talking to clients, we talk about the home court advantage, and we talk about this in depth at the Marketing Blueprint Workshop. But your home court advantage are the things that you can control in your business. Your website is in that category, your email list is in that category, and your retail location is in that category if you have one. Yet most people just have home court advantages that are digital, and you have to own the platform and space there. When you're playing on social media, you're playing as a visitor. They can change the rules as they do and the algorithm at any time. So what can you control? Growing an email list will help you build and grow in your business and will give you the flexibility to pivot when needed, especially in uncertain markets. Your email list will also be your highest source of revenue as you offer appropriate sales conversations as you nurture the list over time. So consider the ways that you can improve your email list. And again, jot down 3 or 4 things that can help you to improve your email list. Now, in the marketing category, and we're talking about the self-audit today, it's not just about digital platforms, but traditional platforms as well. So the 4th thing I would like you to rate is on a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate your efforts in traditional mediums? Is it possible to grow a business without traditional mediums? Absolutely. But this is one place that you could look that will give you some additional eyes in your business. And also there are platforms that can help you reach your audience with a different message. In the digital space, it can be very crowded and very confusing to cut through the noise so that your message is heard. And in some traditional platforms, you might find ways that you'll reach your audience in stronger ways, or even coupling them together so that they're getting both digital and traditional strategies to help them see you and stay top of mind. So as you think about this, what is your current score or rating on a scale from 1 being needs improvement to 10 totally rocking it? Maybe there's ways you can engage with a television audience. Maybe there's some billboards you can consider. While newspapers work for some very specific target markets, other print platforms might be more successful for you, whether that's magazine or specific industry publications that might be effective in your line of work. Either way, I still wholeheartedly believe that marketing, as we've talked about before and defined, is getting the right messages to the right masses through the right mediums. And it takes a marketing mix for you to reach all of your audience in the right way. So consider some traditional strategies that might help you marry some of the things that you may be doing online. Now, in the traditional space, I'm also going to encourage you to consider what your mail strategy is. Not just email, but how you can distribute and send things into people's mailboxes. Some people think that email marketing is the way of the future, as it has been for the last decade or two, but mail marketing hasn't gone away. People still check their mail regularly, and they're looking for information and a breakup from a bill from time to time. So in this traditional space, consider also your mail marketing that you can send through the postal service. Something as simple as a postcard could go a long way, especially to customers or lists that you haven't talked to in a long time. They could be part of a great wake-up plan. Now, in the marketing and business self-audit that you can get online, and again, that link is available for you in the show notes for you to go and get your own copy, we talk about some additional pieces in terms of making sure your target market is in check, understanding your funnel and your buyer's journey so that you know how people and potential customers go from being aware of you to actually purchasing from you. These are great tools and resources that you will want to examine so that you can make sure that you're getting customers from the right places, but also finding ways to shorten the buying conversation so that they get to dollars faster. The tools and resources in this little guide will be helpful for you. Now, once you have all of these numbers and you've done some of these exercises, what do you do with them? Create a list of activities and projects that you can work on over the next 6 to 9 months. Look at all of the action items that you just identified, simply doing the audit, and consider which ones are the biggest priorities and need to be done first. Many marketing makeovers will take more than a year to accomplish all of your projects. So don't feel overwhelmed that you have to accomplish all 15 of the little action items that you just created in 1 month. It's also unrealistic. Unless you have a team that's huge and giant and you tend to be in one of the larger corporations, you'll likely take the next 6 to 9 months or maybe even a year to accomplish all of these tasks. But the reality is that you're going to be the most successful if you schedule them and prioritize them. So sit down and look at your list. What is the one that's number 1 for you? Now, in some cases, I encourage clients to say, where is your lowest number? If your lowest number is email marketing, that could be a priority for you. Yet if it's not a current place where you are getting revenue generating activities, it might lower in priority because that's something that you're trying to build. Be cautious as you consider in your priorities, but don't let it paralyze you, because moving forward is going to help you do so much better than just letting this list of action items sit there until the perfect time. Create a structure for you. I'm a huge fan of scheduling, as we've talked about, in creating different projects. But now I want you to look at these projects and consider the daily, weekly, and monthly tasks that need to be done in order for them to be accomplished. Most marketing activities, over 90% of marketing activities, happen on a repeat basis, yet we often put marketing activities on a to-do list. You'll be much more successful in your business and way more effective if you create a daily, weekly, and monthly list for you and for your team that's working on any marketing tasks. I have my own daily, weekly, monthly list, and my assistant has her own daily, weekly, monthly list. And it helps us stay on track of the regular activities that we know need to happen in order to grow the business for ourselves, and also daily, weekly, and monthly tasks for our clients. Think through your marketing in a new way. One of the things that I tell my clients all the time is that marketing isn't just about what you know, it's about what you do. And yet at the same time, creating a marketing mindset will change everything for you. Many people feel like marketing just isn't their thing, or it's not their strong suit. And if that's the case, be willing to either hire it out or hire someone that can help you thrive in this area. Yet I also know that marketing isn't just about your knowledge, it's about how you apply it and what you do with it that will bring you the results in your business. Marketing is a revenue-generating activity that should be at the forefront and should be scheduled, not something that is just sitting on that to-do list, hoping that you will have time to hit it someday. In fact, most of the small business owners and even entrepreneurs that I work with, their biggest struggles with marketing are because they haven't been consistent in their efforts. And so perhaps as part of your social media audit and your marketing audit overall, consider the ways that you can be more consistent in your marketing over the next 12 months. What would that look like? What would your daily activities be? What would your weekly activities be? What would your monthly activities be that would help you grow and create consistent marketing efforts that will bring in consistent business, consistent revenue, and consistent paychecks? So think through the different activities that you can do now. Think through different ways you can involve and engage your team, and find activities and ways that you can outsource. As much as I love marketing, there's no way I can accomplish all of the tasks that I need to in my business without support and help. And many marketing tasks can be outsourced or delegated as long as the training is in place. As I have used marketing assistants and interns over the last 15 years in my business, I have found that most marketing tasks can be done by someone else, and everything should be done at the proper place in your organization. I've shared this before, but we have to talk about it here again. I love the book, The 1 Minute Manager Meets the Monkey by Ken Blanchard. In it, he talks about monkeys that we take on as managers and owners in our own companies that distract us from the things that really need to be done. If marketing feels like a monkey to you, there are still some tasks and ideas that you probably need to take care of, but there are many tasks that you can outsource to someone else who is capable and competent in sharing that message and carrying the torch. Now, while we're on this conversation of messages being one of the most important parts of your marketing, give yourself a rating on a scale from 1 to 10 about your current marketing messages. How is your headline? How's your tagline? How are your main ideas that you put out into the world that share the messages of your business? One way to evaluate different marketing aspects or tactics that you've done in the last 12 months is to evaluate the messages that you put out there and if you felt like they were being received. Messages are a huge part of what you do. And if you are an expert or in a service-based business, it's really tricky to outsource your messages. Yet if you can dial in your messages and know what they are, then your team can help you execute those messages by keeping and maintaining your voice. But figure out where you are. Maybe your main tagline or headline needs some upgrading. Maybe times have changed a little and you want to be more sensitive to what's currently happening in the market. I'm so surprised at watching how many people over the last 12 months have made safety and health part of their main marketing messages, because that's what the market required. Now, I don't necessarily think that every business has to take a safety or health approach, but it does give you an example about how people are adjusting some of their marketing messages so that they can be relevant in the day and age that we live in. Many marketing messages, including some of your foundational messages like your taglines, may be timeless and last far beyond any challenges that are happening in the world. So I'm not saying you have to change your messages, but consider that as part of your audit and then decide what over the next 12 months are the most important messages my audience, my prospects, and my customers need so that they can thrive in the new and coming year. And again, whether you're watching this in the middle of May or you're watching this as you're preparing for a new year, any time is a great time to evaluate what you are currently doing and where you can improve in your marketing. Now, I hope that you will take this, and it doesn't have to take a long time, but for me, I love the quote by Brendan Burchard that says success is scheduled. So I'm going to challenge you to take a 30-minute marketing break next week after you have thought about and considered the different ratings in your current marketing self-audit, and then create a strategy that will help you be successful moving forward. Don't just take these numbers and put them in a drawer and say, oh, that was a really great exercise. Take these numbers and create a strategy that will help you thrive over the next 12 months. I am 100% committed in helping you grow your business and helping you identify the key pieces of your strategy that will help you thrive over the next 12 months. The Marketing Blueprint is my favorite way for small business owners and marketing teams to consider and evaluate different parts of their marketing and to create solid strategy over the next 12 months. We're getting ready for our next live Marketing Blueprint session. And so if you want to go deeper on creating a marketing strategy, the Marketing Blueprint is an obvious choice for you. You can go to marketingblueprintworkshop.com for more details. And we also provided just some snippet details earlier today in today's show. Whether you work with me through the Marketing Blueprint or you go on your own course, know that marketing can be successful as you make it a priority and schedule it as you move forward. Marketing is not your enemy, it is your friend. And so for those of you who feel like it's just something that's a little bit uncomfortable, figure out how to make marketing more fun in the next 12 months for you. Create goals or projects or even celebrations when you hit milestones. Don't let marketing be a drudgery part of your business. Let it be something that helps you come alive and helps you connect with your audience. I am cheering you on in your areas of genius and also cheering you on as you grow in your marketing, because I know it can be a place that you will feel like you are thriving in the market, but I also know it needs your time, attention, and a little bit of flexibility so that you can thrive. Thank you for being part of today's episode. I am so excited for you to do marketing work and for you to make marketing fun. I would love it if you would leave your rating or review in wherever you are either watching or listening to the show. We will be sharing some of those reviews in future episodes, and we would love to hear what you have to say, but also would love for you to share your favorite takeaways and insights so that others looking for a show just like this might decide to listen because of the words that you say. You can find all the show notes and details at speakmichelle.com/podcast, and we look forward to seeing you again. Until we do, make it happen.